What was your moment of realization that you did something really fucked up as a child? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. When I was like 9 years old, I got a hold of my babysitter's phone number and prank messaged her a bunch of her personal details like where she lived and such, her name, her kids' names, all that good stuff. The next day I heard her talking to her husband about the messages. I was fine until she mentioned reporting it to the police. I then ran into the bathroom and started sobbing out of fear of being caught, and also because I realized what I did was kind of fucked up. To this day, nobody knows what I did. When I was like 4 or 5, I used to catch pill bugs and keep them in glass jars. The problem was that I'd leave them there all day, and by the evening they'd have cooked in the sun. My parents realized what I'd been doing eventually and told me not to keep the pill bugs for so long anymore because I was killing them. Well, I didn't believe that being out of the sun would kill the bugs because I spent all day out in the sun playing and I was fine, so I set up an experiment. I caught a fence lizard and stuck it in a jar for a day to see if it would die too. Spoiler, it did. TLDR. I was an insect serial killer as a child. I once went through my neighbor's mail out of curiosity. They were Japanese, so I was very intrigued by the beautiful mail they would get. I opened one of them and realized how awful what I did was. The letter was like 12 pages, and this was pre-internet, and calling by phone to another country was prohibitively expensive. My neighbors emigrated after their home was bombed during World War II, and I still feel so bad I rifled through their mail and opened it that one time. I was sitting on my back porch and got this random memory about how I punched my brother for no reason when we were kids. Got me thinking of all the times I bullied him. Felt awful. I called him and apologized. We're grown adults now. Still feel guilty to this day. I don't know why I treated him like that. I convinced my sister to jump out of a second-story window. She twisted her ankle and got slightly banged up. The worst part was I told her not to tell our mom and to act normal, even though she had scratches on her leg and was limping. Didn't live that one down for years. I was 9. A girl my age dared me to throw a fastball at my mom. I took the dare because A, I was just young enough to still think I couldn't really hurt an adult, B, I had terrible aim and thought I wouldn't hit her, and C, I was one of those kids who never backed down from a dare, which led to some other incredibly fucked up stuff. I beamed her right in the kneecap. Her leg swelled up. She could barely walk for a couple of days. She didn't know I did it on purpose. I felt like a piece of shit for years after. I was 13 and had sex ed in school. Everyone was acting disgusted. We didn't learn much, but the teacher told us that we were all gonna search for it online later. Well, he was right. I searched it up, but all the videos were of people way older than me, which back then weirded me out. So 13-year-old me obliviously searched for videos of people my age. Took me a while to understand that it was illegal. I mean, I was a child myself, but still kind of fucked up thinking back. I was a full-grown adult with a kid of my own. I let my retired parents take my son on a road trip for most of the summer. They got back and were unpacking his stuff, and my mom said something silly or technically incorrect, and my 6 or 7-year-old laid into her about her being ridiculous or not using her brain or something like that, and in no way was his tone playful or joking. My wife made him apologize, and I realized he picked it from my dad and I had done the same thing growing up because it was indoctrinated. I felt horrible, still do. I go out of my way to be patient with mom and encouraging as much as possible. Dad's been gone for several years. Everyone told me what a good son I was at his funeral because I spent the last 2 years helping her take care of him through his cancer. But all I could think was, if you only knew. As a kid, I had no filter whatsoever, and while we were at a family friend's place to celebrate their oldest son's birthday, I got into a conversation with a woman I thought was pregnant about kids. What I didn't know was she and her husband were really struggling to have a child, and me asking if she was pregnant messed her up so bad they had to leave. I didn't realize this, being like 10 at the time, until my dad pulled me to the side to explain what happened. I felt bad for that ever since, even though there was no way I could have known it was an incredibly sensitive subject for them. I've since improved a lot on my filtering. Not your fault. I was really entitled as a kid, like I would pretend to be asleep at 3 p.m. so I didn't have to take the garbage out. I slept 2 a.m. to 2 p.m. and played Xbox the other 12 hours, only stopping to eat Doritos or something. Well, it continued till I was 13, when my grandma went out to shovel snow. She's 76. I was 13. And, of course, she had a stroke right as she went out the door. It was only then that I realized how entitled and lazy I was, but throughout the years following, I became much better. This isn't 100% similar to what I'm reading others say here, but when I was younger, I would often abuse my younger sister, 4 years younger than me, much like my sisters, 2 years older and 4 years older than me, did to me at the time. I would hit her, punch her, pull her hair out, make fun of her all the time, and just completely disregard her as a human being. Years later, I realized what an asshat I was, and I still feel bad about it to this day. She's grown up to be such a smart and amazing young lady, and I'm often jealous of her. I wish we were closer. I used to grab knives and silently walk outside of my house where an anthill was built in the backyard. Me, being the sociopath that I was, decided to go up to the hill and kick it and wait till the ants got out. Then I picked some of the ants up and I cut them in half with the knife that I would bring with me. Even if they would bite, I would cut their heads off no matter what. Sometime later, they started infesting the house for a month, up until my dad finally decided to call an exterminator. Nobody ever found out that it was my fault for the infestation of ants. My parents had some family friends over, and they brought their kids. I was maybe 12, and they were 4 and 7. I was in charge of babysitting those two while the adults all had a good time. I decided we'd play hide and seek. After a few rounds, I was hiding in the top shelf of the bathroom closet when the younger had to go pee. My mom's female friend came in with the little boy to have him pee. I have a wicked competitive streak, so naturally I stayed very still in there. Then the boy's mom also went and peed, while I was still in the closet 2 feet away. When she was done, she left and came back about 20 seconds later and opened that closet and found me in it. Nothing ever came of it. I think my parents were too embarrassed and just wanted to forget about it, but I never forget, and I still feel guilty and dirty about it to this day. Sorry, Laura. We robbed a local pedophile. He was an always drunk next-door neighbor of my mom's best friend. Only us younger boys, 12 to 13, knew he was like that. We never told our parents, I think, and we always declined to go inside his house. Fast forward to tax season that same year. He got like a ton of money and was drunk buying all the beer and food at my mom's friend's cookout. Around 4 p.m., most adults went inside to smoke dope. The adults trusted him around us because he only drank and never caused no problems. My homies, let's call them Lopez and Duran, we made a plan to take his tax money. He's drunk. We played rock, paper, scissors to see who offered him head. Duran lost. He tells this drunk fuck he will blow him, but only inside the guy's house, so his mom don't see him. Me and Lopez make it into dude's house with Duran leaving a back door unlocked. Push him down with his pants around his ankles. Duran gets off his knees and dude hits his head off his nightstand. We took him for about $2,000, I think. That was a fuck ton of money for a kid my age. The pedophile lived. Didn't fuck around at block parties anymore. I tried to drown my younger brother multiple times. I literally had all the signs of a serial killer as a little kid. I'm glad I calmed down. Also, in 7th grade, there was a Christian girl who bullied me, so I did probably one of the worst possible things. I made a lot of negative comments about her religion, and I drew a pentagram in class and held it up for the entire class to see. I also threw a soda can at one of her friends, and I threatened to kill her. Needless to say, I was suspended and searched for the rest of the year. Lasting effects was that everyone hated me. But I'm going to high school now, and I don't have to see those kids again. So, score, I guess. No, it's not a score, I guess.